Call this Commissioners meeting to order. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody. Good to see you today. We'll start our agenda as usual with minutes of our previous meeting, October 17th.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the minutes of the October 17 meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jamie. First up, our Public Transportation Director, Neisah Wicker, or no, you're the new Senior Director.
Yes.
And you're going to introduce our new Transportation Director.
Correct.
And then we're going to approve your quarterly claim. So step right on up.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. This is Lonnie Pollitt, otherwise known as Yolanda Best Pollitt. I think we all know her better as Lonnie. She is the new director of Fayette County Public Transit, effective Monday, November 6th. I am the new director over at the Senior Center. Moved into Dave Lingg's place. He's been with the Senior Center for 12 years in some capacity. And I'm just here to say, hey, we're here to serve and do what we need to do. And we're still in the transit business, and Lonnie's going to get you where you need to go.
Literally, yes.
Okay.
I'll let her do the business.
Okay, we are here to request grant money, and we need from the federal grant, we need $60,440. From the state, we need $28,120. This would make for a total of $88,560. I believe that's all the figures that you'll need. It was nice meeting everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
The documents aren't ready as of yet because Todd Jennings was out of the office all week up until yesterday or today. They'll get them to you. Jolissa will get them to you as soon as she can for your signatures.
Okay. Well, we can go ahead and officially approve the quarterly claim, though, and take care of the rest of it later.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the quarterly claim for public transportation for a total of $88,560. All in favor, signify by saying aye. 3 ayes, Jane.
Thank you.
There you go, ladies.
Thank you, thank you. Y'all have a good meeting.
Was Kelly VanMeter coming back, Jane, or did she?
No, she did not.
Okay. All right. Area Planning Commission Director Bill MacDaniel and Brad Colter are here to inform us on the revised construction standards.
Yeah, well, I'll let Brad handle most of it. He's much more familiar with the document. But before Brad gets going, is that it's a major improvement over what we had, which is just section drawings. This has standards, this has procedures, which the previous development standards did not. And from my perspective with the Plan Commission, we'll need to make certain references in there into both the subdivision regulations and then the zoning code. So we'll just reference these and we adopt them by reference once the commissioners and the city council adopt these. And I think also for the Park and County, I think there's been discussions about, related to the drainage board. And this can work into that. We can have discussions on that at another time. But
Howdy. If you remember, I think about 1.5 years ago, I came and spoke to you when we started this process, and we've been working through it. We kind of delayed it a little bit because we were waiting to see if the city brought a city engineer, but that was kind of moving slow, so I went ahead and tried to get them finished up. Have you all, I know probably nobody's read all 300 pages of that, but have you all seen them at least and had a copy of them to look at so far?
I don't think I do.
Yeah, I think so. When in the original email, Jane, didn't I have those attached?
Yes.
Yeah, so you probably have a copy in your email.
Hey, when did you send it?
It's been about 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, to you, all of you, I guess.
I'll go back and look.
Yeah.
Um,
So mainly what I was going to ask you today was to consider what the process is going to be to get those passed. I don't know, is the county required to have a public hearing?
It would be because it requires an ordinance on the part of the county, correct?
So I was just hoping today that you would give permission to get that process moving. And the city council, I think, in the first meeting in December will have a public hearing in the process to adopt.
We'll need a 10-day notice of that public hearing.
Okay. Should anyone come from the firm that we hired to do this?
We could certainly make that happen if you wanted to have somebody to answer questions. You know, most of the changes in the standards are materials and things like that, but there are some new things about drainage, you know, based on new technology and that kind of thing. So if you want, I could have them at the next meeting if you wanted to, or if you wanted to have them at a public hearing, I'm sure we can facilitate it.
Well, I'm only asking because I know there's over 300 pages of this stuff. And either you or Bill or someone that is familiar with all of it, highlight the major changes so that no one can say that we didn't publicly announce, what we were doing.
I think we can also send like redacted copies that would show a lot of the differences between the old ones and the new ones, but the old ones were just so oversimplified. They were very basic in most of the drawings. These new standards are mostly words and specs.
And one of the things that this has that the old standards did not have is the old standards did not have specs on the specific materials that are now typically called for. And it would just say so many inches of this, so many inches of that, for example, the roads or the pavement. And then there's been, Brad referenced, is a lot of standards have been changed, and so this speaks directly to those. Because some of the things that were in there, you really don't want to do some of these things anymore.
Could it be set up to have a public hearing if you're going to have someone come in from the company, make the county and the city at the same time?
Be a real good idea if that's,
That way you don't have a guy coming back today and tomorrow.
is that something we could do? Have them together?
You say it was the first, it's in December?
Yeah, I can't remember the date, but one of the council meeting dates in December was when they were going to have the public hearing.
We could advertise for a public hearing at the same time, same location. If you guys were willing to do that, then you would just appear at the council.
So we could legally have a joint public hearing. Okay. If that would simplify things for everybody.
You only have to present once that way.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's good.
Okay, so I'll go back and we'll work together to try to get a date picked out that works for everybody. Is that okay?
Sure. It's okay with me, yeah.
Do we need to make that a motion or some type, or just let him set it up?
No, just, you're essentially on board to set it up and do that.
Okay.
We'll just need 2 of you. I mean, all 3 of you would be great, but as long as we can get 2 of you at that same meeting, that would work.
Okay.
All righty.
Well, you see what you can come up with,
Okay.
and we'll try to arrange everybody's schedules, make that work.
All right, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. EMA Director, Wade Walling, do you have anything today?
No, nothing for today.
Okay. County Highway Department, Jay Halveland, do you have anything?
I can tell you what we're doing right now is we're burning roads, getting back, started up above 44 on Fish Drive in, Dick Gabbard. They're gonna keep working north, get as much done as we can. Unless something else comes up, we have to go after it. But we're a little short-handed this week. A lot of people took off with 2 days off in the week, made it a full week. They got the time, they can use it when they want to use it, I guess.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about it later on if they use it all up. I'm gonna take a week's vacation next week. I'll have one of the guys, I'll give him the phone and have him put, if you want, unless you want to pick somebody to put in charge.
Request denied.
Come on.
I was gonna call for disaster that week.
You don't need a vacation.
Oh, yeah. Believe me.
Okay, did you say next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure one of them has the phone while I'm off and they can catch the calls. If they don't catch it, then Angie can take care of it.
Okay.
But as far as that, they got plenty of bourbon to do, and plus we got some patching to do, and other kinds of things, picking up trash. We got trash that people are throwing out on the roads. I gotta have enough people there to split the crew to do it. I don't want to stop one project, go get another one. So we'll get it done.
Okay. Anybody got anything for Jay?
I've got a question after the meeting for you. So
After the meeting? Okay.
it's not important, so.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Sheriff Jones, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple things. Was notified Monday, I think, that David Jones, deputy, is possibly going to be resigning and going to the city police pending his perf approval. So just need to make sure it's okay to try to fill his spot. Just keep flip-flopping back and forth. My intention is to not steal somebody from the city police. It's to try to come up from within, but you never know what applications you're going to get. So just need a permission once he does put his resignation in. I think it's going to be coming pretty soon to go ahead and start the process on filling that spot.
Okay.
Look to approve.
The second time.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve.
Can we deny his resignation?
You can try it. To authorize the sheriff to begin the process to fill a vacancy in his department. Any further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
All right. And also, I'm not sure where to start this process, but I want to start a jail deputy program. A lot of other counties do it. It just gives a select group of jail officers more responsibility. It's no more pay, it's just more responsibility. They go through a 40-hour pre-basic, which is sort of what Danny Hell and Ryan Young and Wesley Green, they're technically not, they haven't went through the academy, but they are permitted to carry a weapon. Give these jail deputies the ability to carry a weapon, vest, so they can provide more court security when needed. Maybe school resource officer, they could do that. Just other details that they can do that we got jail officers now taking transports and they're in a police car with no weapon and it's kind of dangerous. So didn't know if we needed a new job classification or what we needed to do to get this process started. But I've got some SOPs wrote up for this position, and I wanted to get that going sooner than later, just because, again, it is dangerous for them to go on transports without any type of protection. And they have a taser on them, but if somebody wants to get away from you and they got help, the taser's not going to do much good for you. So as Just want to know if you guys had any guidance on what steps I should take. I would assume there's going to have to be a job classification in the handbook, but maybe an auditor question.
It's something I would have to research.
A lot of other counties do it. Wayne County, we've got a copy of their SOPs on this and worked it to how we wanted to look, but there's a lot of counties that have a jail deputy program. When I first started in the jail in '99, there were corrections officers and jail officers. And then Sheriff Frank Jackson just made everybody a jail officer, but now we just want jail officers and jail deputies. And that would be a good stepping stone for road positions also. We could use it for that. Just something I'm looking at doing.
Okay. Well, if you could find, someone that's already doing this, see what kind of rules they have to go by, that would give us a template to maybe to go by to start here.
Yep.
That's the way we go.
That's what I'll do. The SOPs that we've got, I'll send it to you guys in a copy of Wayne County's, and you can see what you think. I just think it's safety concern for us over there, and it's something to boost morale because you're not just stuck in a jail officer position for 5-6 years. You actually can move up a little bit.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it's a good deal. Would that let them move out and ride with a
Yeah.
road deputy also?
They could. We could use them in that position. Danny Hell and Ryan, and they do a lot of. They go out on accidents with us and calls with us just because they've got that 40-hour pre-basic and they're special deputies. So they during their time on duty, they have arrest powers and whatnot. So.
Do you know how many, jail officers do you really need?
We're looking at probably trying to promote maybe 4 or 5. Start there, and that's a good number for me, I think. That'll help us out with transports. They'll primarily be doing the transports, that group, just because they'll have a weapon, and this makes it a lot safer.
Sounds good.
But I'll get you guys a copy of the SOPs, and I'll email it to all 3 of you.
Okay.
All right?
Well, be patient with us. It takes us forever to do anything.
Just don't read it after you read the 300 pages.
Okay.
Any other questions or anything?
I don't. Anybody got anything?
I got one. Does your vehicles have fire extinguishers in them?
They do not. No. Maybe 1 or 2. Some of the guys may have them.
Investment.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be. Yeah. After a couple weeks ago, yes, it'd be a really good investment. So.
That's all I got.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Animal Shelter Director Dave Ryckman, do you have anything today?
Not too much. On the donate button, I got it. I sent it to the Rock Pay Rock, and I'm waiting on their back reply for me. What I started out doing, I was going on the wrong side of it, and I talked to somebody, and they said, yeah, here, this side. So that side, I didn't really see, so that helped. The building, for the grant, I got to go to a meeting on the 28th of this month with Jolissa and find out what's going to happen there. So we're doing that, and we do have some donations already up for the building fund. I already put $27.90 into our donation, but I got it separated where it says building fund. And I still got another one up there for $561 donation. So we're getting donations for it to help out things. And I looked online and I seen Calvary Baptist, they're getting ready to change some stuff, and so they got some decent cabinets, so I'm trying to see if we can get them too. So I'll try to save some money, in the long run. But my report for the last month, previous we had 16 animals. That was in the 9th month that we had left over. Current month, we had 4. In the public, where people bring their own animals in, we had 17. They're coming out to around 44. We sold 22. We had 15 claimed. We got 16 dogs on hand, and we got 6 cats on hand at the end of October. I had one owner's request to put a dog down, but this month already had 4 owner's requests. So and I got another one I got to answer back to, putting their animal down for them. That's all I got right now. Oh, well, we picked up 2 dogs and 3 cats. I was head on the road. Any questions?
Anybody got anything for Dave? Well,
Thank you.
stay on that building project, Dave.
I'm trying to get with it.
Okay.
Okay. Because I was waiting on the contractors there for a while to try to get them. And I get one of them in there, then something happened that found out something wasn't jiving right, so we had to get another couple more. So I'm working on it.
Okay. All right, well, thanks. Surveyor Bill Mackey. Bill, I know you've got something today, don't you?
Yeah, I emailed you all a supplemental agreement. It's on the countywide bridge inspection. Where Federal Highway Commission mandated more calculations and stuff on bridges. So this is just additional money that we'll have to pay for that to be done. It's not the original contract. So did you all take a look at it?
I did.
All 3 signatures and also James.
Oh.
But it's something they mandated again.
Yeah.
It's like $8,000 calculated.
Yeah, we already had an agreement to do our bridge inspection.
Yeah, this is additional.
And then the federal government says they want more data collected than
what they wanted before.
And so our engineering firm says if you want to do all that, it's going to cost you more money. In fact, $28,188 more. We'll have to send, whoever does this, we need to send them a Christmas.
No, I don't know. Yeah, that's just something, They dole out all the money, so they want
That's what I was
the
thinking.
information.
May end up helping. Second, I'll second
Okay. We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the supplemental agreement, number 1, between the commissioners and USI consultants for bridge inspection, adding $28,188 to the cost of the project. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Doesn't do us any good to plan for anything, does it?
And the next contractor I have it built in, so it won't be a surprise. For the next 4 years, we're in the last phase of this 4 years. Jake also needs to sign it. He'll be put in there, so hopefully there's no more surprises.
Got them wrong, federal government.
Not going somewhere. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for Bill? Does the county attorney have anything today?
No, I might on the Glenwood Water Project, but nothing right now.
Okay. Anyone have any mail they need to share?
No.
What about old business? Okay. Under new business, We will announce that we learned earlier in the week that Fayette County was awarded the Community Crossings matching grant for $1 million, and that was the second draw of the year. So we will be, we need to pick out some roads. Yeah, and we got an email from Bill just recently. We need to turn something in. What, you want to do that early
They
next
want
month?
to sign the contract you always do with them on the 5th of December, so they would like to have the roads a week or so before that, so they put it in there, and then once they get the contract signed, they'll have time to get all the calculations and stuff for the bidding and everything done, because that'll have to be the last Friday of January is usually when those are due. So yeah, it would be nice to have them about a week or so before the 5th meeting, because they would like to sign it. They need to put those roads in the contract,
I have
and
a
then
question.
they can move forward.
What happened to the one for this year?
They're still in place, as far as I know. The ones that we had in place for this year will be done with the grant award that we just got.
Okay.
Wellsview Road is what's going to be done, because the other road was already paved, and what they'll do is when it's bid, there'll just have to be a change order, let the contractors know they're not bidding on 550 now because it's already been done. There'll just be a change order, because that way, you know, they don't want to be bidding on it when it's not out there now.
That's still 7 miles of road they have to get on the other stretch,
Yeah.
but that'll cover that.
You think that 7 miles on 350 south,
300.
use up the whole thing?
Yep, we can put the whole thing down.
Well-
From one to the county line.
Very. Oh, we need to schedule a work session on this. And lay the maps out and get this done in time for the engineers to do what they need to do. So let's try to agree on, we'll try to agree on a day to meet on this.
Just not next week.
It's not next week, okay. We need to get it done this month, though. Okay. Anything else on that? All right. I want to introduce Paula Copenhaver from the Attorney General's office. Paula?
I'm impressed you got my name right. Good job. So I am Paula Copenhaver, and I'm here on behalf of Attorney General Todd Rokita. Give you some information.
Sure.
And the entire office. And I am, like I said, I am with the Office of Attorney General. I'm a former county clerk. And so thank you for serving the public and everything as an elected official. I have a lot of appreciation for that. And thanks for allowing me to be here and speak to you on behalf of the office. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the Attorney General's office. Under Attorney General Rokita's leadership, the ultimate mission of the office is to protect the rights, liberties, and safety for all Hoosiers. We function as the official law firm for the government of the state of Indiana, and we work to protect Hoosiers through our Consumer Protection Division, Unclaimed Property Division, and the Medicaid Fraud Unit, and much more. With nearly 20,000 active cases at any given time, our office defends laws passed by the legislature and challenges federal overreach harmful to Hoosiers. We protect consumers from illicit business practices, cybersecurity threats, data privacy violations, and ID theft. We have obtained nearly $1 million in settlements for Hoosiers, including hundreds of thousands from annoying and illegal robocallers. So the office returns over $1 million in unclaimed property to Hoosiers every week. achieving a record $76.8 million returned in fiscal year 2023, so this year. And since taking office, we have recovered $85.5 million from entities allegedly engaged in Medicaid fraud. So we also handle more than 1,000 criminal and civil appeals each year, successfully upholding the convictions of child abusers, murderers, and rapists. Attorney General Rakita oversees a staff of over 400 people with one common purpose: serving Hoosiers with servants' hearts. Todd Rakita was elected in 2020 as Indiana's Attorney General, having earned the highest number of votes of any state office holder in Indiana history. Attorney General Rakita has been a champion for Hoosiers while serving in the private sector as a U.S. Congressman, as Indiana Secretary of State, and now as the state's Chief Legal Officer. In his current position, he continues to uphold the rule of law and protect Hoosiers from government overreach. He is a strong supporter of life and is an active fighter for our constitutional rights. Todd Rakita is known for his willingness to take a stand, never back down, and speak up for those who often feel like their voices are not represented on the news, in our schools, or in the corporate world. Our office follows this agenda, and we are always here when Hoosiers are in need. That mission is what brings me here today to talk about the Consumer Protection Division, first of all. The Consumer Protection Division oversees like the do not call list and Hoosiers' rights. If you have never signed up for the Rakita Review, which is a newsletter that goes out, if you want to see me after the meeting's over, I'll get your email address and send out that information. And also anytime a product is recalled, we will send that information out to your email so that you can see what those products are. Because so many times we purchase products and don't ever know that they've ever even been recalled. So that's part of the things that the Consumer Protection Division oversees. Also the do not call list. I'm sure you've all been victims of receiving, I'm calling about your car's warranty, right? And so that's part of those robocallers. And so if you receive those unwanted calls, you can sign up for the do not call list. And we also encourage you to file a complaint with the Consumer Protection Division if you do receive those, so that we can track those. If we don't receive any complaints in writing, then we can't pursue those robocallers and get them shut down. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is the Unclaimed Property Division, which, I stated, we've been giving back over $1 million a week in unclaimed property. Many of you may not know what the unclaimed property actually is. A lot of times it's a refund or insurance proceeds, maybe a claim in payroll if you happen to move and you didn't get your last paycheck and you didn't update your address with your former employer. That money is returned back to that holder, and they will hold it for a certain period of time, and if they can't return it to you, then those funds get turned over to the state, the Unclaimed Property Division, and then the state holds those funds for 25 years. And if you don't claim your money after 25 years, it rolls over into the general fund, and then our state legislature gets to spend your money. And so I also have unclaimed property cards in your bags that you can scan the QR code, or you can simply go to indianaunclaimed.gov and just do a simple search for your name, for your friends and family. You can even look for your enemies and see if they're on there, and you don't have to tell them they have unclaimed money if you don't want to, but all that money is out there, and we encourage you to claim your money and get it back so that it's yours. And if you tell somebody they have it, there's money out there, you can say, hey, if you get this money claimed, you're taking me, right? And but that's why I'm here, is just to let you know what the office offers, what we do, and we're here for you if you need anything. So thank you for having me here today.
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
I've got one.
Okay.
Where did you serve as county clerk?
Fountain County.
Fountain County.
I live in Covington, Indiana.
Okay.
Yep.
Was curious about that.
Yeah. So I have a lot of appreciation.
Uh-huh. Well, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to introduce Stephanie, or you want me to? Jane? Are you paying attention?
You can. Yeah. I'm
We have-
always paying attention. Yeah.
Stephanie Hoffman is here representing the Drug Coalition, and she also works for us in the auditor's office.
I'll tell you the truth, I'm on Indiana Unclaimed right now, trying to see if I've got any money out there.
Okay, Stephanie, you go ahead.
All right, I'm Steph Hoffman. I work in the auditor's office. I worked in the health department 15 years, and now I'm serving as coordinator for the Fayette County Drug Coalition. And I'm here today to request funds be released for our grant cycle that we just did. And I have an extra copy of you. I didn't make enough room. So the Fayette County School Court Red Ribbon Week, $5,571.02. Growing Branches for Christ, their Celebrate Recovery, $3,976. The Whole Family Initiative for the Pathway to Damascus, $3,694. House of Roots for their recovery program, $4,582. Freedom House for their drug tests, $418.75. The Fayette County Sheriff's Department for their impaired driving control. That's the new, like, talk screens and the strips that go with them for their vehicles. And the Fayette County Drug Court for their substance screenings, $4,783.65. Any questions for me?
Yeah, do you know what your total is?
Yeah, $30,305.42. That's broke down between our three categories that we have to follow. We had a grant committee that met.
I'll make a motion to approve that grant request for that. What was your actual Drug Coalition grant? Drug Coalition grant for $30,305.42.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale to release the Drug Coalition grant funds for the list of uses that we have here, and totaling, what was the total?
$30,305.
$30,305.
And 42 cents.
42 cents. Any further questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. There you go, kid.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry folks had to wait through all that. Mr. Thomas Barclay and representatives from the Glenwood Water Project are here to discuss their plans for water for Glenwood.
So while Thomas hands that out, I'll just do an introduction. Sean Kleinke was my fiscal advisor for the county government.
Okay.
We have maps. You'll give me another set of maps, so you're good.
The one I had before is in there in the office, so that's.
What is that? Here's the breakdown. Jane, you want a copy of anything?
I hand it.
Yeah, I will if you have it.
Jeff? I think I've seen it all. You seen it? Yeah. Like you're familiar? I feel like I'm familiar at this point.
Thank you. Like Sean said, we're here, Thomas Barclay, Commonwealth Engineers, and Sean Kleinke, Financial. We've been hired by the town of Glenwood to evaluate their water. One of the recommendations from Town Council President Danny Richardson was, if there was ever a way that they could get water from Connorsville down to Glenwood, that would be their ideal outcome of a water project. They hired us to evaluate their current water plants and long-term look at what that would look like. They went through a water upgrade not too long ago, but within the last 5 or 6 years. And just from I'm not an engineer. I do business development for Commonwealth, so I don't want to make engineering calls. But through our preliminary engineering report, we determined that if the funds were right, the best course of action for Glenwood would be to get water from Connorsville. We proceeded with that with our engineering report. We submitted it to the state revolving fund. We were ranked and scored and put on the fundable range for this fiscal year 24, which means that we'll have access to grant dollars for this project. We don't know yet with that. If you guys have ever done an SRF project, you don't know what that means until you reach a certain point. And for us, that's getting through design of the project. And that's what we're here today for, is to ask for consideration for a loan from the county that the town would pay back once we get those grant dollars from the state. And to get back to SRF, you don't know how much you're going to get from SRF until you've reached through design portion of the project, and then you can close on your loan with them, and they'll release those dollars to the client or to the community. So for us, the overall project as it stands today, without taking any consideration of regionalism throughout the county, without regionalism with the city of Rushville and Rush County, the project as it stands today, to take a line from where it ends we would come a little bit further than what Connorsville's utility runs out to. It runs out to Pleasant View community. We'd actually be going to the city limits and upgrading that line that runs out to Pleasant View as of now. That project as a total, you can see on the bottom there, would be about $13.8 million. That includes some line work within the town limits of Glenwood, which if you look at the first map that I gave you, which is this blown up version of Glenwood, this will show you all the line work that we have planned to do. That project in and of itself is, I want to say, $2.5 million worth of work to repair all their lines. And then the balance of that would be non-construction cost, and then putting a line in the ground from Connorsville to Glenwood. So with that, our non-construction cost to get us through design that we're asking for consideration and talk about today is $1.381 million. That would allow us to not have to go through a bank to do this. Usually we go get a bond anticipated notice, which would come with a little bit of interest that would be paid. So we're seeking to come to the county first and see if you guys have any interest in assisting the town in this endeavor at a 0% interest, that we would enter into an interlocal agreement, and it would be repaid whenever we receive those funds back from the state. Timeline on that is roughly how long?
So I talked to SRF, and they put us on the fourth quarter closing. I've had them push us back as long as possible until we can get some of this interim financing resolved. The thing I'll add to Thomas's comment is, it's hard to get on the approved PPL, project party list, and so Glenwood did a good job making it there. And that was even with post-project rates of over $800. And SRF knew that, and SRF isn't going to expect residents to pay $800 a month. So there's a lot of strong indicators that they're willing to help the community here, but we don't know to what degree. So.
Yeah, and then if you want to turn to that other map, this just shows you what the project would look like in whole. This is basically an expanded view of eastern Fayette County over into it's going to run it right along 44, which is the most reasonable route. Thanks to Commissioner Strong's help, and we were able to identify that there's already utilities that run along most of 44. So we wouldn't have to look at paying the state any additional. On there we have highlighted on the breakdown of this, we have highlighted on there $40,000 for archaeological reconnaissance. That's pretty much gone at this point. We're keeping it on there in case we do run into anything else. But that's what we would have had to pay if we didn't know that there are utilities along 44. So yeah, that's the project that we have as of right now. It's evolving and changing, but that everything else isn't important today. This is the pertinent part today.
Okay, you got any questions or comments, Thomas? I'll say this, I hope this project gets done. I really do. I'd like to see it sure.
We also have Mary, the clerk, and Danny, the town council president. If you guys have any specific questions for the town, I still have all of us standing up here.
Yeah, I know Mary and Danny Richardson both have worked on this for a long time and very hard. And I know, Mary, you want to see this happen before you retire, don't you?
Right. I've been clerk treasurer for 46 years, and before I retire, I want this to happen. Not just for Glenwood, but basically, I mean, for that part of Fayette County. We've had businesses come out and can't proceed because they can't find water. There just isn't water out in that area. Mm-hmm. So to expand even Glenwood or the surrounding area to get, prospective other businesses out there that they're going to need water is just not going to happen. For decades, we've been looking for it. For decades, we've been looking for other water sources besides what's in our town, and so it's a project it's needed for more than just the Glenwood section of it.
To touch on that as well, it was identified in our engineering report that we could come in and we could provide some upgrades to their plant, some different ways that they treat the groundwater coming out, but they're going to run right back into the same issue. And long term, over 20, 30 years, with upgrades after upgrades, this is the more feasible thing. With them, they have a they run into a lot. They're getting ready to run into the issue that most of our small communities in Indiana have, where it's who's going to run your utility when the person who's running it leaves. And say that you do find somebody that comes in, most of the time they run into a situation where nothing's written down. There's no procedures on how the plant is run or had been run. There's no maps on where anything is in the ground. It's just somebody who's been doing it for 40 years and they know where everything is in the community, then they leave or they move on, and now nobody knows where any of that stuff is located. So for us, we would push that Glenwood would keep their water utility and just receive water from Connersville, so that they still have that revenue stream that's very vital to our small municipalities. And basically what they have in town now, they would keep on hand just as an emergency, if they needed the fire suppression or something like that. That'd be about the extent of it.
The line coming from city out, if it's a 6-inch main, is that going to be big enough for any company that wants to tie to it and also feed the town of Glenwood?
No, it could be. It depends on how it's run. If it was pressurized and taken from city straight to Glenwood, yeah, it'd be enough. But if there was and we had this discussion when we talked about the Ready project and with both the city, both here, the city, also the city of Rushville, and the county of Rush County. That there would be some upgrades that Rushville and Rush County would be interested in possibly pursuing to make that line 10, 12 inches. But in terms of, it probably would, because Glenwood's not a massive water user. So you'd probably be fine if a neighborhood went up off of it. If you put an industry in that needed a substantial amount of water, no, it wouldn't. This, because when we designed this project, it's designed to meet Glenwood's needs, and that because that's their client, them and Collinsville both a client, but they're the focus of this project is getting them water. So when you get into that larger picture, that's where we start considering anything that's done above and beyond the scope of this project would need to come from somewhere else in terms of funding. Because we can't expect Glenwood residents to pay for a line that's going to suit people that don't live, that aren't customers or don't live within Glenwood town limits. So a 6-inch line would move plenty of water to provide to additional housing or neighborhoods or people that we wanted to pick up along the way. Once you get into industries that require a substantial amount of water, it might work, but it'd probably be upsized. That's why when we were talking to Rush County, they have a big interest in extending water beyond Glenwood, further into Rush County, and they would be on the hook for all those upgrades that are made on this part of the project to handle what they would need in the future. It also brings up the, sorry, Commissioner, I know you're going to say something. It also brings up the next part would be, who maintains that line? Because Glenwood isn't going to be in a spot to maintain 7.5 miles of line. As you see here, it's got a couple booster stations because we got some variations as you go down that hill and back up it to push that water through, and then also to make sure that it's staying potable the whole way. To Brad and his team, so that there are some other conversations that would need to take place as well. Once this project, moves forward with all the funding, and we start putting it in the ground, and it's a real project. So,
Okay. Tracy, do you have any questions?
Well, no, it seems like a great, I love it. I love the idea of it. It just seems like there are a lot of things we don't know, like the logistics of it, and also the responsibility piece. I was thinking of that, who's responsible, and So those are other things, those are questions, but it's not what we're going to do today.
No,
just in my mind, I was thinking.
We did have some brief conversations with Commissioner Strong about that. What makes the most sense? Is it the utility that's already in place that has staff members on place who are going to understand water and how to fix, booster stations and stuff like that? But then, it runs through the county, and now the city owns infrastructure that runs through the county, and what does that mean whenever, it's developed and so on and so forth? Or does the county have an interest in creating a water district where, they would end up becoming the entity that operates and maintains that stretch of pipe? So it's those aren't our decisions, but those aren't, doesn't mean it's not part of the conversation. We keep focus on, we work for Glenwood, this is Glenwood's project. We're happy to help, but that's between other parties involved.
It would seem, is this similar to what Everton water?
No.
Different?
Yeah, it's different to Everton. So this, I fully support this project, and this could possibly be the start of something much bigger and better, because I've always been a proponent of a county-wide municipal water system here in Fayette County, because we've got the water, we just don't have a delivery system. And especially in the southern part of the county, it's really hard to get a good water well.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's all about money.
Yes, it is.
You know, so here we are again, and it's all about money. And speaking of which, you speak of a loan of 1.38 million. Even if we wanted to right now, we are not, you know, the commissioners do not have the authority to do that. That's reserved for the county council.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, I'm sure they're going to say that they're not exactly flush with cash. But let's just say, for instance, what would be the terms of a loan like this?
So we would wrap that into the financing. So if you gave us that money, the next step would be we'd go back to SRF and just to get an understanding of what their financial commitment could be. Now, they're not going to give us an absolute, but they might be able to give us some bounds on what they're thinking, because they already evaluated the project and approved it. So they're already thinking about it, but right now, to move this thing forward, we need to get a PER, and that's what these funds are for. So it's kind of the chicken or the egg, right?
Mm-hmm. And for the benefit of our people that don't know what a PER is, could you explain that?
Yeah, so that's a preliminary engineering report. Okay. We have one. It's submitted. They've accepted it. What we need to do is get through design. That's the part that they need to see is come to completion. Actually, by chance, print it off. This is not a PER. It's part of the PER. I'm happy to leave this with you. But this is the executive summary of PER. So it's about 12 pages, 15 pages. It's going to address the history of you know, the engineering report looks at the history of the utility that it's evaluating. It's going to come up with 3 solutions, and then if you did nothing. And then we, as a company, we present that to the town. The town gives us a direction on how they would like to proceed with the primary project. And then that's the project that we go and we seek funds for. So right now we're submitted to IFA, SRF, and like Sean had mentioned, they received 90, 100 water applications, and they only funded 16. We were 15th on that list, which means that you know, they will have a grant component to it. Like I said, we won't know that until we reach, by their standards, we reach a point to where design is completed, and the project is at that point ready to go out and seek bids. That's whenever they consider it to be closed, and then they will give us their commitment to the project. So that's what you guys see in that engineering. That's just the executive. The whole thing's 300 pages, but that gives you a brief overview of what kind of fills out. Because there's a lot of, IDEM has a lot of stuff that they want to see. SHPO, the State Historical Preservation Officer, has stuff that they want to see. They want to see water tables. They want to see drainage. They want to see just a bunch of boring stuff that none of us would really care to see. So that's basically condensed into, you know, 15, less than, I mean, you got some maps in there, so it's worth about 10 pages. Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts to a project.
And if you want me to speak to that, I'm happy to. It doesn't really provide much to this, into the 1.3, but what it does is it builds out a whole picture of what the project actually is. And if you're happy, I'm more than willing to talk about that quickly.
For my part, no, you don't need to do that. But,
and you're more than welcome. You can keep that executive summary if this is not enough time for you to look through it.
Right.
Okay. And I'm happy to send it. I can send you I can send you an electronic version of our PER. You'll see it. It's voluminous, but it's got a lot of information in there about the water availability in the part of the county.
Yeah, a lot of boring stuff that, that only an engineer would want to read, I'm sure. Town of Glenwood is represented by the same attorney we employ here. Jeff, do you have anything to add to this discussion?
No, I mean, I just, the only thing that's ever kind of caused me some heartburn is this component of how much will be granted and how much won't be. If it's not grant oriented pretty significantly, then that would cause me some concerns. Now, I would agree that the thing that leads me to believe they're likely to grant it pretty heavily is the fact that they take into rates is a big deal, right? Like if Glenwood's rates were $30 and everybody else around the state was $100, then they're not likely to give them money. But the fact that they're willing to do this, knowing that if there were no grants and the price would be $800 rates, they're not going to let that happen. Like they literally will not let that happen. So that leads me to believe they have the intentions to give a pretty large amount of this to be either a grant or a forgiven loan, right? Don't they do a lot of that where they essentially you essentially pay back for a year or two and then they forgive it as long as everything's going in where it's supposed to go. I don't know. I mean, I've got a lot of questions. What happens if I don't know how much this study would be to get them to get SRF on the hook. What happens if you're $800,000 into the engineering firm and SRF says, well, we're going to give you a third of it in grants, the rest of it, and then Town of Glenwood, City of Connersville, everybody says, nah, that doesn't work. Where does that money that goes to the engineering firm go? Where does that come from? Where does that's because Glenwood can't take that on.
Nope.
I mean, Glenwood can't take a couple $100,000 on and pay the engineering firm for their work. So that's I guess I would like the answer to that. Where does that come into play? When does Glenwood and the City of Connersville and Fayette County all going to say, no, we're not going to proceed with it because there's not enough money there? This $1.5 million loan that Glenwood's essentially borrowing from Fayette County, what happens?
And that's that's tough to say because we are at the behest. We do have a meeting hopefully scheduled with USDA to bring them on as a lender, and as we've discussed ad nauseum before, if we can get USDA to come on board and with the Rushville piece that's getting added onto it, USDA will come back on board. It's a larger project than just Glenwood. But USDA is very simple. You send it to them. They underwrite you an agreement, and then they send it to you. Before you get to this point, you know exactly how much you're getting in grant, how much you're getting in
letter of condition.
Yeah, and it's done very early on in the process. The problem with SRF is SRF isn't designed and isn't the mission statement of SRF is not small town Indiana. They work very well with large cities. That's where they get their money in. They turn it out, and they usually work with municipalities that have X amount of dollars on hand to pay for engineering fees and stuff like that. But they have all the money right now, and say if Jeff, to go back to your point, if it gets to a point to where it doesn't seem like it's going to, what we would do as a company is we would start parsing this project out after the design phase and saying, okay, if they're only going to give us X for the whole project from Connersville to Glenwood, the money that they gave us in the grant, we'll go back to them and say, that's not enough to do the entire project. Can we use that money to just do the line work in Glenwood? And then next year, we will go through and we'll reapply for the regional portion of it to seek a different pot of money. I mean, it's not uncommon. We've done it that way before. He works with us up in Frankton, and Frankton was similar. It's a town that we're putting at the same time, we're putting in a wastewater treatment facility, we're upgrading the water facility, and we're putting all new storm sewers throughout the town. And it's in a similar, it's bigger, it's 5, 6, 7 times the size of Glenwood, but it's still a small municipality. If they're in a similar financial situation, they don't have the money to do it. So we just started piecing the projects out and going after different sets of money further down the line. So that's about all I can't give you a guarantee, that. But if it gets to a point where it seems like it's not going to work, we'll take care of the things that, like I said, we'll split the project up, we'll go after a different way. We'll seek different funding, Rushville has come into this as wanting to be a partner. If the project doesn't move forward, then they don't get their water either. So we can, we've got different people that we can go to, but obviously we want to go with grant dollars first.
And so so this $1.5 million that we're looking to borrow right now, right?
Yes.
This is all soft costs?
This is all the non-construction costs.
Okay. And that will be spent before we ever get a firm number from SRF?
Yes. Yeah. This will allow my engineers and their team to get everything prepped to start bidding the project. And hopefully in that, I don't want to. If
I guess my concern is what does Glenwood do if they've got $1.5 million on the hook, and SRF says we're going to loan it to you, but we're only going to give you half of it in grants.
So normally the way that plays out is if we get down the road a ways, then we'll go back with SRF and we'll do a rate study and say, okay, well, they're not $800, they're at $350. And then SRF again is going to say, well, that's not tenable. We need to do something. And so they may lean on us to talk to RD. And I said, look, we talked to RD, it was an option, or we're on the list and we're 17th on the list. But they'll be part of this as we move on, and they'll know where we're at on this. I mean, we talk to their engineering people, we talk to their finance people, we talk to, depending on where we're at in the project. And so, like as we talk about here, if we do get through this step, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to them and say, okay, we're going to move forward. The town has committed for this. So, and as a matter of fact, I'll go back and update our closing quarter and say, hey, here's our new closing quarter. So they're like, okay, and by the way, we've got our commitments. We're still at $800, and we'll bring it along with us all the way. They're not going to. I'm not seeing a community that they've allowed to pay over $100, for a monthly bill. They've always been able to manage through that.
And they actually don't like to see places or municipalities pay over $85. That's their threshold for both water and wastewater. So 85 for wastewater, 85 for water. Yeah, and a lot of that too, Jeff, is I'm also not the financial guy.
Sure.
So we lean a lot on our financial consultants to make sure that those numbers always work. And they're the ones that say, we all stay in contact with Camille and Bill Harkins over at SRF to make sure that we're all moving down the road at the same pace.
But to me, just mathematically, if we're talking rough numbers, I mean, for Glenwood's rates to not go up that much, we're talking about a 90% funding.
Something like that.
I mean, we're talking about not 50% grant. We're talking 90%. Right? Because they've only got married 200 users, if that.
Well, 108.
108 users.
Consumers. Water, we have about 122.
So I mean, there's not a whole lot of.
And the other thing you play with is the term. When RD comes in, SRF typically is 20-year, RD is 40. You can bump SRF to 35 and pay a half-point premium, but if you can peanut butter spread that over a longer period of time, that helps keep those numbers down as well.
Yeah. And then another benefit to them is, if they do get the water there, it's then next for the town is going and taking infrastructure south, so they can now start to pick up additional customers.
Yeah, I mean, there is no doubt that if this were to be grant, if we were to get this as a grant, it's good for everyone. It's good for city utilities. It's good for the town of Glenwood in an unbelievable manner.
Yeah, it's not. I don't want to. You know, you don't want to do the pie in the sky and act like it's going to happen. But you know, the town of Laurel last year, and I hate to say this out loud, but the town of Laurel last year, they got 100% grant. It doesn't happen often, and I don't want to build anybody's expectations up that they would get that, but it's happened. And it's happened with this pot of money that we're pulling money from now. So, you know, we usually like to say that 75 is that good number that we like to be at, but that doesn't mean that 90 is off the table either to make it a you know, feasible project.
Yeah, so, you know, we've taken a bit of your time, we appreciate it. Just give you two things to consider. One is, if you don't deny a request or forward it to the council, we appreciate your time. But really, that kind of ends the discussion on this opportunity. If you would, and we would certainly appreciate it, if you would lend your support to move to the council, and even if there's some contingencies based on that, you know, contingent on maybe X, Y, Z, we can talk about something like that as well. But the ideal goal, and we talked about this before the meeting, is to really have this conversation, and it's a real opportunity for the county and for Glenwood. But if you would, you know, lend your support to it, to the council, then the next step would be we would move with them and continue to have this conversation. And this conversation stays alive. It stays alive with SRF, stays alive with RD, stays alive with Rushville and Glenwood, and all players are still trying to find a solution to this.
Well, fellas, I'll admit it's not every day we get a request for a $1.3 million loan, you know. But I'm not going to dismiss this, or I'm going to speak for myself here. I wouldn't dismiss this project out of hand because it means so much to so many people. But at the same time, a real discussion, I think, needs to be take place with all the players in the room. That would include not just us, the county council, Connorsville Utilities, representatives from the city of Rushville and Rush County, as well as Glenwood, and let everybody sit around the round table and see if they can't work something out between all of us. I would hope that something could be, some arrangement could be made.
Yeah, and we had a similar discussion to that in terms of the ready dollars that are coming out through IEDC, where we have asked that Connorsville identify as their project for ready to be this project. And we've asked Rushville to identify from their end that them getting the line from Glenwood would be their ready project. So, you know, we're certainly trying to stay creative because, you know, we do know that if it's not 90 to 100, you know, 90-95% grant dollars, that it's not really a feasible project. You know, so we're not trying to pursue something that is going to hamstring Glenwood and leave them, you know, with a significant burden that they can't, you know, they can't take on. So we're turning over every rock. We're talking to everybody, and right now we haven't heard of a single person that's been invited to any of these meetings, including Dan Parker, Dan Parks, sorry, operator, Dan Parker, John McCain over in Rush County, talk about the economic development side from their end.
Those are a couple of names that I think should be in the room in the discussion also.
Yeah.
They have been. Both mayors have been. I mean, it's yeah. Rushville's very interested. I serve with pleasure with Rushville City Utilities. They're very interested in that because they I mean, the fact of the matter is, our water here is phenomenal, and it's plentiful. But it's got to make financial sense for the Connorsville City Utilities, Fayette County, to be able to do that. But I think there is, if there's enough grant money awarded, I think it's a phenomenal project. And I think Rushville is interested in, so kind of the question about 6-inch pipes, 8-inch pipes, 10-inch, 12. Rushville's interested in significantly paying the difference between a larger pipe going through there, just to be able to give them the ability in the future to pull from it from Glenwood. So that would be a good benefit to everyone because it's not costing the city, Connersville, Glenwood, or Fayette County any more money to get a bigger pipe to go through.
Thomas, what do you need or want from us today?
I think similar to what Sean said. If you guys feel comfortable with this project and our request moving forward, we would just ask that you recommend it to the council, and Sean and I come back and speak to the council about the exact same thing. And that's all we can do is, we're here on Glenwood's behalf trying to seek these funds so that they don't have to go to the market for them. That would be the step after this ultimately. If this didn't make it through, then Sean would go to the municipal bond world and figure out what that would look like.
In India.
Because what are, do you know what interest?
4.75.
Yeah, so.
Latest fall pool program numbers.
So you add 4.5-ish % onto 1.3 over the 5-6 months that they're going to have this bond out, and now we're just passing away good money. So that's that's the normal course. That's what we do with a lot of other communities that need to take a bond out to get through design. It's when we're in a community that seems like the project's beneficial to just more than just the town, we like to approach the commissioners and see if we can save the town at least the interest on their money.
Help me out here.
So you're wanting 1.381 on a loan for 6 to 8 months.
I can get you a firmer timeline of how long it would take the engineering team to get through design. I didn't bring the whole thing with me to show the breakdown of how long that takes. It's somewhere in that time frame.
Roughly.
Yeah. Yep. At 0% interest. We can mention that at the beginning. Yeah.
Well, 4.5%.
I think I could say that I'm supportive of the project and allow for, we're not the ones to decide, it is for our council.
Yeah.
But I definitely would speak on behalf of Glenwood. I'm from Glenwood, not the town, but, I'm in the community. My address is Glenwood.
Okay.
And I know the need for water, also south of there, Orange Township. So I could see that it would be a growing, it could continue to be a good thing for a lot of people in Fayette County and Rush County as well. So I could say I am very supportive of it, and I would very much hope that we get the best that we can through the grant money, because I also recognize on our part as a county, we don't just have an abundance of money to be out. So.
So does this need to be put into a motion or just a verbal agreement or a disagreement?
Well, I'll tell you, we can send them to the county council to present their case with our blessing, or they can go without it.
It certainly makes it a lot easier.
We don't.
If
we don't tell the council
no,
what to do.
No, you don't. But you were our contact from the town, and also with Jeff being your attorney makes it a lot easier for us to start with. Because if you guys still come in here and go kick rocks, then it's a lot. We might still go to the council, but if the county has no appetite to take on that burden, but also kind of a larger look at what it possibly could open up for the county as well.
Well, the possibilities here are so great that I really don't want to end the discussion here. And certainly, other people besides us need to be in on this, including our county council.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm happy to schedule an additional if you want. If you guys do want to recommend this to the council. I'm happy to schedule an additional meeting prior to their meeting where we could get together. We could have Brad and the mayor come over. I could see if the Rushville contingency would like to come up, and we could sit down again and just have another conversation. You know, it doesn't bother us at all to have to make conversations to make everybody as comfortable with the project as possible.
I'll move to make a favorable motion to move to the council.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to favorably recommend Mr. Barclay and his firm and the town of Glenwood to a discussion with the county council. That said good enough, Jane?
I'll go back and listen to it afterwards.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Is there any other questions?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Would you like me to set up that meeting prior to the council meeting?
Well, that will be,
Unless they meet tomorrow, then I can't do that.
they have a meeting at 6 p.m. today. And
Work today.
I know, I'll be
First Tuesday of December.
Okay.
We will inform them that you're desirous of a meeting with them, and they may decide they want to do a special meeting out of it rather than.
And also, I mean, if you guys recommend it to them and they say they have no appetite for it, no desire, then hey, we're fine with that too, and we won't waste our time, the county's time, or Glenwood's time.
Sure. Well, yeah. If they throw rocks at us,
yeah,
we'll just tell you the deal's off, you know.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting situation here.
It is. It's got its complexities to it for sure. So, yeah, like I said, we just want to make sure that we're having as many conversations as we can, so that everybody, nobody at the end of it says, "I didn't know that was going to happen," or "That's not what we expected."
Right.
So.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Is there any patron concerns from anyone today? Okay, if not, that concludes our agenda except for claims and payroll.
Oh,
They can
we
have
go.
someone. Evan, you go ahead, Sharon.
The 525 West.
Okay.
Evan Hogart, bought a property in Fayette County. We just want to get the situation with the road, where it is at, kind of cleared up, and just make sure it's made right. If you have any questions or anything for me.
Okay, now you two have been involved in this.
You might want to explain what happened from the time you've purchased the ground till now, and
sure.
Get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, the auction company, at the day of the sale to the road, they thought ended at the Red Barn. Well, after we bought the property, the day of the auction, they said, well, we're going to have a little strip of land here added to your property, so you have the adequate amount of road frontage. And after we had bought the property, they allowed the gentleman that purchased the property across the road to close a month before we even got our survey back, the official packet. So we had no way to contest or question what they did when they made the changes to our survey. They actually they ended the road at right in front of the house, and actually drew in an easement all the way around where the road was, like out in the field, in the grass. So originally my concern was just kind of over, hey, if we have a disagreement between property owners and someone puts up a fence to, just be a pain, that's going to really inhibit or prohibit me from getting out of my barn with my equipment. And so then I kind of started talking to the commissioners here about where the road actually ended, and I was informed that the road ends at the edge of my tool shed. So, there's anything else we need said here.
And that's where, was it, somebody set a post that said this is the end of the road or something back
Which track did you buy?
The one, the red barn, the kind of southeast track.
50 acres?
Yeah, 50, I think it came out
Yeah.
at 51. So, yeah, actually.
Yeah, the road ends at the south line of his barn.
Set the
It's
state.
30,
Yeah.
the state did all the links and lists and the right of ways probably back in the 60s when they started paying counties on road mileage. And they determined 39 hundredths of a mile, which goes exactly to the south line of your barn. That's where it ends.
And
When the survey was done, here I can show you the copy of this when the surveyor did them. He assumed, because it was only maintained, what, Jay, about the house, is what you guys were maintaining.
They always maintain it down in front of the barn.
Yeah, but anyway, the surveyor, this gentleman here, oops, sorry, he bought the 50 acres. And see the barn right there on the 50 acres? That the county road officially ends right at the south end of that. That's your 39 hundredths of a mile from the right of way of 200. And the surveyor at the time, see, you can see the end of county maintenance, no turnaround. He just assumed that that's where the county ended it. So he put that 75-foot strip because that to make it a legal track. Because if this gentleman ever wanted to build a house, he wouldn't be able to do it without meeting our ordinances, you know, in order to have an access off the county road. But the county road went a lot farther than what the survey shows. So that's why you have to have that appendage to go, well, they thought you needed it, but you really, I mean, in fact you don't, but you're still on that ground. I mean, regardless, that's your access, but you can still use the gravel road where it is all the way back. I mean, well, I put a stake in there. Were you out there that day?
Yeah.
I put a stake right where the county road ends, and it's right on the south line of that barn. In fact, after I determined it, I talked to a previous surveyor who was here 44 years and asked Jerry if he ever had an issue on that road. He said, yeah, not between people. Property owner years ago wanted to know where it ended because he thought about selling some lots off, and Jerry said it went right to the south line of that barn, exactly where I came up with it. So that's where, in 39 hundredths of a mile, that's where it measures. It's lineal feet from the right of way of 200. So yeah, I don't see any issues.
So I just been having an issue with the other, when they're parking a vehicle on the road. I mean, at one point in time, he parked the truck across the road.
Did the surveyor get out and stake it?
No, he's never been out there either.
See, that's one problem. They don't know exactly where these lines are, but from the measurements when I was out there, he definitely owns into the right of way of the county road, so there's no stopping him from coming in there. It's a 30, according to the old map, 34-foot right of way is what that road's supposed to be. So
I've been driving around it for now, and I was able to thankfully get it out of the tool shed, the combine, without having to hit anything. But I just want to make sure it gets addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I used to never address this to the other property owners, just giving me problems.
Pardon me?
The other guy that owns the house, he's just causing problems, you trying to get in and out.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to assume, but when the truck was across the road, it's kind of hard to ignore that.
Let me make sure I'm clear on this, Bill. The surveyor that did the work that we see here drew in this
ownership. Yeah, he actually owns it because he wasn't sure because he says he thought the road ended there by me.
Okay, he drew this easement in unnecessarily.
It's not really easement, it's ownership.
Unnecessarily.
Yeah, when it came down to the fact.
Okay, where is the property line here? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it right there. This is the barn he's talking about. And the county road ends right at the south end of that barn.
Okay. And this gentleman
owns the 50 acres.
This 50 acres here? Okay.
And those roads that county road goes not too far in front of these little buildings too. I mean, I don't know until he stakes it, Is those the ones he's going in and out of? The neighbors blocking them at those little barns there across from yours?
No, I mean, he's parking like right across from the opening of my doors. It's kind of a pain.
Okay.
But no, it definitely. I mean, he has right of way all the way back there. I mean, if the guy's blocking the county road, call the sheriff.
Okay. So your neighbor is just blocking the road.
This guy here.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to have to call the sheriff's department, so I just kind of drove around for now, knowing that this meeting was coming up. So I was able to kind of go around for the time being, but obviously it needs to be made right. I'm just afraid if it isn't addressed, then they'll keep pushing the issue and there'll be more and more stuff parked there and stuff.
So it would help too in this situation, I think, because I drove out there to see it. What's happened is I could see how there was confusion because the gravel ends at that guy right in front of his house, basically. Jay knows.
No, it goes around the corner.
Yeah, you can kind of see the
there.
you can kind of see where they did the little partial turnaround out, like right before you get to this barn. You can tell where it's been.
So it just hasn't got much gravel there then, too.
Oh, it's got as much as any other county gravel road does.
All right. So this guy really is then just parking in the county and the road.
Yeah, I'd just like to know, and it'd be helpful if that surveyor that did do that survey actually would show up to flag it.
I'm kind of surprised he hadn't staked it yet.
Or maybe is there a way we could just stake off the width of the road, mark that, so it'd be a good visual on where the actual road is. Even if you're just like with a paint line, just for.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's 34-foot wide road, basically where the center line of the old gravel is, so 17 feet on each side. I mean, it's not defined that well, but you can see where it came around the corner and ran south. I mean, you could pretty much tell 17 feet on each half, which, like I said, we did the measurements because it shows 40 feet or whatever there from the barn out to the property line, and that gets you into the road, so it's not like his property's not going to have access to the right of way, because we did a couple measurements when I was there a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
would it help resolve this dispute?
Yeah, it turns.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped it there.
Yeah, time you really take the center and go on down. I mean, the right of way is not going to curve.
Yeah.
They just did it to that barn, but time you take the straight mark at the curve, yeah, 17 feet on each side. I mean, it's kind of, there's no fencing or anything in there. So it's kind of hard to exact and the right of way.
Would it help if it had more? Would it help with more gravel? Is that what you think would help it?
No, I think the guy just contends that the road ends up by his house instead of all the way back at his barn.
So should we put it was
As soon as they stake it, I mean, if the surveyor stakes it, that might clarify some of it, because like I said, you're gonna still put your fence out from the end of the barn to the property line.
Yep.
See, Jay, he's talking about putting the fence out from the corner of the barn out to wherever his property line is through there, and then if you could put the end of the road sign.
Well, yeah.
Or even tack it on until,
Brian about when he comes back.
yeah, just whatever you got, when you're planning on doing that, but.
Whenever the guy gets out there to mark it, so I'm sure.
Yeah, you can't do it on survey,
Right.
but it's survey, so. But yeah, I mean,
All right. Who would be the proper person to inform this other property owner? Would it be you, Bill, or would it be the county attorney? Or would it be the surveyor that did the original work? All we want him to do is just stop blocking the right of way.
probably a letter from the attorney, you know, that the road ends at the south line of his barn. I mean, once it gets staked though, I mean, right now, you can see on paper what it's supposed to look like, but when you get out there, because that line runs across, his property line runs across the road, just past around his barn there, so until it's staked, it's kind of hard to, you can kind of visualize what it is, but yeah.
Okay. But you own the barn, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't foresee needing anything big in and out of there for a while yet. I just, want to make sure we get it resolved at that point in time. So if we need to wait until that surveyor can actually get it marked before we do anything, just as long as he can come out there at a reasonable time. I finally got a hold of him about a month ago. He was supposed to have been out there already. It's been 3 or 4 weeks and still nothing, so.
But yeah, once he gets it staked, everybody can see clearly where the property lines are. I think, yeah, just a letter from the attorney, don't be blocking, county right of way on 525, it's 34 feet, don't be, blocking the road.
But does this continue to happen?
Yeah, I mean, every time we've been over there, I take pictures every time just to document. It's been, the truck's just kind of been left there. I think it's not what he drives, it's like a speeder.
Okay. All right.
That was the picture you sent me.
Yeah, it's
a week ago or so.
Yep. So they were pretty friendly last weekend, our new combine home. They were really friendly and stuff. I didn't want to bring it up now. I just figured we would just talk about it here and try to avoid any conflict. Because I want to try to get along with them. They're going to be neighbors for a while, so we don't want to, get anybody mad.
Okay, well, if you guys are that friendly, and if you think the conflict is over, we could drop it right here. But if you don't think it's over, we'll have to have one of these other guys write a letter.
I mean, I think something official in writing.
And let us know as soon as he gets a stake too. That would
Right.
help. Because,
Okay, you, now as far as the where the right of way is and how far it goes, do you already have all that you need from the surveyor?
is the stake still there? You didn't, nobody moved the stake yet? huh?
No, the end of the road.
That's just okay.
Yep.
I drove a stake at the end there. But it's right at the south end of the barn. If somebody yanks it, and you get the barn. Barn's not going to move.
Is it just a wooden stake?
Yeah, I put a lath and wrote on it in the County Road 525.
Would it help if Jay rusted a steel post and put a road sign on it? I mean,
Well, the thing is, that's where you've been going through your combines, right? Is it, or,
No, I mean,
if you're
it just long as it wasn't placed on my side of the, I know if you.
I just stuck it on, yeah, basically.
If it was in the center of the roadbed, it wouldn't be in the way of anything, I would think. But if the line favors the east side of the road, it'd be more fair if it was put right there on the line. That way, it's not on that property owner's, side. Because that might affect his ability to get to the back part of his property.
Yeah, on the property line at the end of the road.
We were just
You'll
thinking.
come out that barn so far, and then that line of angles there in front of the barn. So he's talking about putting it, on that property line just out on the south side of the barn. So until that line stays, we don't know exactly where his property and the road ends. I mean, we know where the road ends, but on that property line, and then the other guy has his access on his side.
well, how about if we just leave it like it is right now? If you keep having trouble, come back and we'll see what we can do. And after they get it staked, and then we'll have Jeff or whoever send a letter. And if that don't change, then we'll have Sheriff's Department take care of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that agreeable?
Sounds good.
Hope that does.
I mean, a letter from me is going to encourage conflict. If there's not conflict right now, I would say get the thing staked and see how it does, and then if we need to remedy it, we can remedy it.
That'll work.
The stakes, I mean, I think he wants something official, and I think putting in the stakes is that official, no questions, then now we know we're good. But if you want me to write a letter, I can write a letter in a heartbeat, but I don't think that's going to help his cause much.
Just hold off on that and see what happens.
You guys just let me know when you need me to do it.
Okay, we'll see if that works. Jane reminded me that we still have the proposed 2024 pay schedule to adopt or not. Got a copy of it. Well, everybody wants to get paid,
I need to approve the pay if you agree.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Do we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the 2024 pay schedule? Is there any question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Now, that concludes our agenda except for claims and payroll.
Move to pay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve claims and payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. As soon as we get all these signed, we'll be down here. we forgetting anything?
Adjourn.
Second that.
I have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to adjourn. All in favor? Adjourn. Thank you all very much.